Hi guys, and welcome to Heidi's Fish Tank. I apologize in advance for this shaky video. I'm filming on my phone because I know that if I don't film on my phone, this video will never go live. I have been absent. I have been absent from every single channel. And I'm also not going to show you my face right now because I just woke up and I don't have my makeup on yet. Anyways, I've been absent from every single channel. If you guys don't know, this is not my only channel. In fact, this is my smallest channel. And that's just for personal reasons. There's a lot that's been going on. I also haven't had a lot going on in the fish tank world. I've been really busy with maintaining my parents' tanks, which has done a good job of keeping me distracted and keeping me from spending a bunch of money on my own. So what we're looking at here is the 55-gallon tank. The 55-gallon tank is set up yet again. So I wanted to kind of update you guys on what is going on with my tank upgrade and my saltwater tank in general. So if you guys don't know or haven't seen some of my other videos, I currently have a 125-gallon 6-foot tank sitting in my garage that I got for almost nothing, and it's already drilled, which is good because I was really intimidated with the idea of drilling something. In fact, I bought a 110, and bought is a loose term. I got it for next to nothing. I bought a 110 that was like a custom build tank that came with a stand, but it was tempered glass, and I didn't realize that when I purchased it. And so after talking to the guy at my local fish store, I ended up selling that tank off on Craigslist. It went to a really awesome cichlid breeder, and he's loving it. And instead bought a different used tank, which was also next to nothing. There's this store in my area that sells used equipment, which is really nice because you can also kind of trade in your equipment and stuff. And they always just have really, really good deals. And it's really nice. You kind of have to dig around the store to see what you need and also know what you're looking for. But if you know what you're doing, you can get a really good deal. So I have a 6-foot by 18-inch, 125-gallon tank just kind of sitting in my garage right now. That is going to be my upgrade. And I've been kind of slowly piecing together things that I need, you know, plumbing parts and pumps and stuff to build the stand. And it will definitely be very much a DIY project in order to try and keep the price down. But to be honest, you guys, sorry about the shakiness. I'm not handy. My husband is very handy. He is not into fish tanks. I mean, he has a little nano tank or whatever, and he humors me. And he's been very, very busy, and he was going to help me a lot with the stand and the plumbing and all of that stuff. So for now, it's just kind of been sitting in the garage while I've been, again, like I said, slowly getting pieces, glass lids, because the stuff that I'm planning on getting will probably jump, all of that stuff. And it's coming together, but it's coming together a lot more slowly than I had originally thought it was going to. And I got sick of not having saltwater fish in my house. If you guys don't know, I have a discus tank, which, to be honest, and my freshwater viewers might find this funny, I've gotten kind of bored with. It doesn't require that much work. And I really, really missed looking at saltwater fish. So I decided to go ahead and set this guy back up and get some fish to look at again. So that's what I did. All of these guys will eventually go in the 125. They're not like that foxface, for example, really shouldn't spend its whole life in a tank this big. And he's gotten quite big. So he'll be very happy when we move him to the 6-foot tank, which I've been working on just really researching because it's going to be my first reef tank as well. I've only ever had fowlers. And so I've watched the BRS 52 Weeks of Reefing like 17,000 times, trying to get a really good grip on it. And there's a couple things that I've really taken to heart through watching that and researching that. The first one is I need to take this very, very slow, which is why it's still sitting in my garage. And research. And the second thing is I want everything that comes into a tank that size to be very, very healthy. So I've gone kind of to the extreme as far as quarantine goes. Everybody that you're looking at in here has been through formalin freshwater dips, metronidazole, praziquantel, copper. A few of them have been through tank transfer as well. And currently, I am actually running this tank at hyposalinity. And you guys might be like, Heidi, that's a little bit extreme. And it is. You don't need to send your fish through hyposalinity and copper and tank transfer. Just one. Copper is probably the easiest because it covers ick and velvet. But I just really don't want anything coming into the tank. And so this tank is just kind of a secondary quarantine. So they all go through individual quarantines, most of them through copper. And then they've come into this tank and they've been kind of hanging out in here. And my plan is for them to spend some time in here in hyposalinity. And my hope is that by the time it's time to go up from hyposalinity, it will be time to move to the other tank. I did have my skimmer on here. It was just a hang-on back skimmer, but since the tank is running hyposalinity, I pulled it off because it doesn't skim at that level of salinity. So let's talk a little bit about the fish that I've gotten here. That fox face I've had the longest. It was in my mom's system for a little while. I bought it when I initially bought the 125 and I was being impatient and I was like, oh, I'll throw him in quarantine and by the time he's done with quarantine, the tank will be ready. That was several months ago and the tank is not ready. So he was in my mom's fowlr for a little bit and now here he is. And then I've got two Ocellaris clowns. Honestly, I would have rather had kind of some designer clowns or Clarkies or something, but I am a mother and we have to have Nemo, of course. And then up here, this girl was sold to me. I want the tank to be a very heavy Anthias tank. I really, really love Anthias. I didn't used to really like Anthias, and then as I was thinking more and more about it, the more I realized that I really want quite a lot of high contrast Anthias, which is what I've kind of got going on in this tank, to be honest. So that orange girl that just kind of hid back, she's kind of in the middle of transitioning right now. And she knows I'm talking about her, so she's like, no, I'm gonna hide. She was sold to me as a Leartail Anthias, and I'm like, she's huge. And then when I got home and did a little bit more research, I realized it's not a Leartail, it's a female square back Anthias. And she's in the middle of transitioning. There she is. She's in the middle of transitioning. She's huge. If you can see her in comparison to that purple one, she's quite large. And if you look real close, I don't know if it's going to pick up on my phone. There's like trace amounts of like a square starting to appear on her, which I think is pretty cool because I got her much cheaper than I think she would have been sold for if she had been labeled correctly. Like I've seen male squareback Anthias going for like 65, and obviously she is a female, but I can tell she's starting to transition. Her color is getting more and more red each day, and that square on her side is starting to appear more and more. So there's her. Up here in the front is a purple queen Anthias, and to be honest, you guys, I'm nervous about her. I did not realize when I purchased it, sorry about the shaky hands, I did not realize when I purchased her that she is a very difficult fish. Some places list her as difficult, and other places even list her as expert only. So she's been tricky to feed, and I've been feeding her plankton and fish eggs, and the thing about Anthias is they have to eat quite a few times a day, which makes it difficult. Fortunately, I stay home, so I'm able to hand feed her. But I am nervous because we're going to be going out of town in October, and I'm just nervous about the tank sitter and that particular fish. And then there's another fish in here that is also quite shy and is hiding, and it's another Anthias. It's a red Saddle Anthias, which also seems to be kind of tricky. So I was originally going to do a school of these purple, a school of those red Saddle, and a school of Leartail, but I think I'm not going to do a school of Leartail now, considering I accidentally got this square. And I'll probably leave the tank like this until the 125 is set up, and just leave it running hyposalinity and all of that stuff, and then transfer them over to the 125 once they're done with that. And then I'll start looking into getting some more Anthias. Oh, there's the red saddle. I don't know if you saw her for just a second there. There she is. Quite a shy little fish. I don't think I'll start getting the schools of the Anthias until the 125 is set up. And then also there's a couple tangs on my list. I'm thinking maybe a Lamarck's Angel. And also separately from this, I should mention that I have my very first coral, but it's not in this tank, obviously. This tank is running hyposalinity. And that coral is hanging out in a coral quarantine right now. I've done a dip on it. And to be honest, you guys, I don't know much about coral pests. It's something that I still don't have a good grasp on, which is why I've been kind of intimidated by coral. I know that I don't want ick coming in on the coral, which can happen, or velvet, or certainly not Uranema. Fun fact about Uranema, you guys, I don't know why people aren't more scared of it. Going fallow does not cure Uranema, so I really don't want those kinds of things in my tank. So that stuff can come in on coral, it can come in on inverts, it can come in on live rock, it can come in on macroalgae, anything wet. So every single thing that's wet is going to go through quarantine. So I have a separate little 10-gallon tank, and I went ahead and I got a cheap little LED coral light for that 10-gallon coral quarantine tank that I got with actually it was a gift card that I won for Premium Aquatics from Mad Hatter's Reef, which is pretty cool. So anyways, that's kind of the update. These guys are just quarantining on through hyposalinity. I'm hoping that I can get that purple Anthias on something other than plankton and fish eggs. It would be nice if I could get her, you know, at least on brine and mysis, and then maybe even some pellet food so I could do an auto feeder on the 125. But that's the basic update. I was emailing with Billy Pipes. If you guys haven't seen his channel, I'll link it down below. He had a tragedy this week with his temporary tank where it leaked all over the place. And I sent him an email and I was like, hey man, I'm really sorry about all that. And we were kind of chatting back and forth, and he was like, I haven't heard anything from you. And I haven't, like I said, I haven't been on any of my channels. I've had some health problems, which isn't really relevant to the fish channel, but I've been having some health issues. So maybe I'll talk about that on a different channel, but I hope that you guys like this update on these guys. Oh, this tank also, I should mention, is bare bottom. I don't have any sand in there. So there are going to be some sand-dwelling fish, wrasses, and like a jawfish and stuff that I want to go in the 125. And I'll have to figure out how I'm going to do quarantine for those kinds of fish, but that's a different video. So this is getting long. I hope that you guys liked this. Sounds like my kids are getting into trouble. So I will talk to you all soon. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.